in 25 years I will not be here, I hope. Somewhere else.
All right, so previously we talked about what classes to take in the future.
Yeah.
When do you want that plan done?
Well, you need to be, obviously, registration's open now, so you
Yeah.
probably be thinking about what you want to take.
Okay.
There has Geisler, the graduate director, sent anything to you, graduate students, about 400 level courses? You heard anything? This is the undergrad slash, like this one,
Mhm.
those slash courses. So word on the street, at least at the beginning of this semester, was that the provost at the time, who got sacked, so she's not here anymore, was talking about making it so that the 400 level courses you guys take don't count towards your graduate degrees. So that would happen. I don't know if it was happen this semester, but it would happen in future semesters. So like aquaculture, could take it as a 4 level course. Counts this semester. But then like after that, like I teach a 400 level course in the fall. I've had grad students in it, no problem. Now it seems like she was making it sound like that was something that wouldn't work, and that we all had to create like a 500 level version of the courses, which I did, but then I never heard anything back, and I don't know if that rule has gone away because no one has communicated with at least me as a faculty member. Have you guys heard anything about that at all?
No.
Because that influences what courses you can take, right? Because, have you taken like a limnology or freshwater biology class?
Freshwater biology, yes.
Yeah, but not a limnology.
No.
More of a so that would be one I would recommend you taking in the fall.
Okay.
But that's a 400 level course, so if it's, I don't know.
I think there's an intro to fisheries management that's offered in the fall, right?
Yeah, that's great class, a 400 level class too.
Okay.
So those are probably that, and then is Guillaume still teaching biostats? Do you know?
I imagine.
The most important class for you to take is whatever the version of biostats is now.
Okay.
We used to have two, biostats 1 and biostats 2. One would be taught in the fall, 2 would be taught in spring. Then Guillaume said that he could just teach it just one biostats class in the fall and be done with it. So I don't know if that's what he's doing or what. So these are the things that you need to. Well, I'll ask today because I'll send an email around and let you guys know what I know.
Okay.
But those are the kind of courses you probably want to be thinking about taking. So, and then I don't know. I'll be teaching fishery stock assessment in the spring.
Yeah.
Not aquaculture. So that'll get out there. And, so we get plenty of courses. We'll be in good shape.
Cool. Let's talk about data collection.
Yeah.
So the algal bloom thing, like the idea is cool, but to make it actually work is iffy.
Okay.
I don't know. I just know that, since Tanya messed around with the ponds, like her experiment was not successful. So I may be pushing away from that idea and focusing more on movement and density. Yishuan is working on something this summer. Actually, Joe and I briefly talked about this the other day. So one of the things that could be a possibility is power analysis to determine what level of data we conduct, a population estimate using telemetry data. Don't know if we have enough tagged fish for calculating data, but that's a potential that we did talk about. Let me see. Mary Beth started a project with us some sort of like telemetry project, and she's interested in reviving it if some student is willing to work on that. And then third is density dependent movement, which is what Yuxuan is working on this summer.
Yeah. One thing we want to do, and I think we should start having Joe be involved in the conversation, so we're all in the same boat in terms of getting you direction towards where you're going. But that all sounds like it's pretty cool. A lot of it, you could be using some of the data that we collected over the last 10 years or so to answer some of these questions in terms of like the density dependent movement. So yeah, I think that there's probably some legs to all this stuff. So yeah, let's start to really sort of work on hashing out, developing those ideas. And
I forgot one more thing. We also talked about the relationship between the Alton Pool and Pool 26 of the Mississippi River.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The problem is I don't know if we have access to that data that's getting collected this year or not. Yeah, it all depends if this is something Mary Beth wants to share. I don't see her being like against doing that, but we probably want to get her involved in the conversation and make sure that she's cool with it. Because I think that's really important, that getting at the interbasin movement is kind of critical for everything we're doing, and that's sort of why we've been out tagging these fish and putting tags into our receivers into the Pool 26. We also have some old data, like back in the early 2000, well, the middle 2000s, late 2000s, where we actually had receivers in both the Mississippi and the Illinois. So we were tagging carp even back then. So you might be able to take a look at some of that data. And it'd be cool is to compare what happened back then to now. See if historical trends have changed. I don't know if we have enough data, but I'll try to find it and send it to you if you guys want to look at it. So,
yeah.
Back to the power analysis. So can you, when he mentioned the power analysis, what were you guys trying to get with that one?
He said he didn't really know how population estimates are calculated, and doesn't really know if we have enough tagged fish to get a population estimate.
Okay.
But this is where power analysis would come in, essentially.
So when he's talking about tag fish, and again, it'd be helpful to have him in the room with us.
Yeah.
Is he talking about the fish that we put telemetry tags in, or talking about recaps of like Mary Beth did a study several years ago where she put out a bunch of jaw tags in the fish, and we looked at recaps there.
I think it was just the telemetry. Right. Yeah.
So one thing you want to be thinking about is how you take data from tagged fish and the recaptures of those on the receiver network, and use that to get some sort of population estimate from that. That I'm not all that familiar with. We have used those data to estimate mortality through time, survivorship. Because Andy Whelan published this just a couple of years ago. So what we were doing with that is you look at the number of detections that you get in the network of these tagged fish, and you can calculate two things from it. One is when they permanently drop out, that's survivorship, because they were there 1 year and they're not anymore. And then there's detectability, where you have one, it disappears for 2 years, then reappears, and then disappears for another year, then reappears. And that's detectability, because that gives you an idea of, like, if you have one that's missing, how often will you be able to pick it up again? So he calculated that on the networks for both the Wabash and for the Illinois, and compared the two. But that's different than population estimate, right? Because that's not, you can't get population estimate from that. So
yeah.
Have you looked at any literature on getting data, population estimates from telemetry data before?
Not
Yeah.
yet.
Okay, that's something where he needs to elaborate or talk to both of us and figure out how he wants to do that, because I'm still not clear on that one.
Okay.
Yeah. The other problem with trying to do population estimate is that you've got mortality occurring with fishing harvest, and so these fish are getting removed more through time, and we don't
Right.
actually know how much that really is, and so that could be influencing our tag recap rates, which would affect an estimate of population too. So yeah, so we'll have to talk about that and figure out how to make that happen.
Okay.
Yeah. So what I would say the next step for you to do right now is to start diving into some papers. Before you even do that, let's see here. Do you have a copy of analysis interpretation of freshwater fisheries data? Is that right? Ring a bell? I'm not going to give you my copy because I need it. Oh, actually, you can borrow it for a while. Like it. Just sit on my desk. Fisheries techniques. There it is somewhere, Jimmy. Blue book. Blue book. Did I give it to somebody and didn't get it back? That suck. Alright, well, I don't have my copy, so I don't know where it went. Guess I need to get a new copy. It sucks. So anyway, there's a book called Analysis Interpretation of Freshwater Fisheries Data. It actually has like chapter on market capture studies, population dynamics, so you might want to check that out. And I gotta figure out what I do with my book. I don't know where it is. What if I lent it to somebody and they never gave it back?
It's a possibility.
Oh, no, I did. There it is. There, now you're gonna leave. Now you gotta give it back to me. Yeah, so this has this is an old book, so it's we're actually working on the second edition of this, so the second edition is like twice as big as this one, so but there's a whole thing in here about, you know, mortality recruitment, sampling design, power analysis. This is the book we would use for part of stock assessment, so yeah, you want to check this stuff out.
Okay.
And see if there's anything in here that sort of gets you excited. Like, for example, there's analysis of movement of habitat use with telemetry data. Fish population bioassessment, which is more matrix modeling. Yeah, and I'll try to get you some stuff too. So why don't you borrow that for now?
Okay.
And I would, if I were you, I'd try to buy a copy, because it would be a bad thing to have. So.
Amazon.
Of AFS, are you a member of AFS? Yeah, I think you can get book discount.
Okay.
Just go to the website.
Okay. Cool.
It's pretty out of date. I mean, honestly, I don't know what the status is of the new version, but I mean, I wrote my chapter, so.
Mm-hmm. Okay, maybe I need to put American Fisheries Society. Is it fisheries.org? That's what pulls up for me.
I can't remember what
Yeah.
they're.
Yep, that's it. Okay.
Bookstore, they'll want your membership. Obviously, you sign as a member, and then I think you can get the book. I think it's like $80, maybe, with 10% discount or something like that.
Okay.
The book itself, like I said, it's just a place for you to sort of give yourself some ideas. But like I said, I don't know how you get a population estimate from telemetry data. So I will actually just right after this look and see if there are any papers on doing that. But yeah.
Why are we pulling one of the receivers at the Wabash?
When are we?
Or why?
Because the funding agency told us they don't want us to do Wabash River anymore.
There's so much potential there, though.
Well, they apparently don't think it's something that's important to monitor because they, for whatever reason, have been told by whoever that monitoring the Wabash River is not giving them any information about the behavior of the population of the species that they're trying to control with taxpayer money. But the problem is that we think that river and the White River are incredibly important, influencing not only the size of the population, but also the recruitment of the population. And so that's going to influence how these fish behave, whether it's a source or a sink, probably a source. It could be a refuge for them during times when the main river's not great, and certainly influence the fish upstream. But like I said, the partnership, which is basically a bunch of people who get funding to do this work, see this as a detriment to them being able to do what they want to do. And so because they have the decision-making process and they're, in my opinion, biased about it, they took the money away. So it's as simple as that.
It's
So
a
if
shame.
somebody lived in New Harmony or Terre Haute or any of those places, and I knew that the agencies were pulling out of monitoring and potential control of those rivers, I would be really pissed off. But again, this is a decision that maybe Indiana, Craig Jansen, I think he's still doing some telemetry stuff up in the upper Wabash. And the reason why he's still doing that is because there is the possibility those fish in the upper Wabash can get into the Maumee Basin and then into Lake Erie. So Craig Jansen's still funding somebody to work up there. Craig might actually start bringing some people into work in where we were working in. But Illinois has decided not to support us. And that's because the guy who's in charge of the Illinois program either doesn't respect us or doesn't think that what we do is worth funding. So it's, in my opinion, it's largely because of one personality in the state of Illinois who is making a decision that he thinks is right. So that's what's happening. So our program goes blah. And there's nothing we can do about it.
So my next question is, what is tagging going to be like for this summer? Like, Yishun told me there's only going to be like 3 or 4 days in 1 month to do any kind of field data collecting. That's it. Because our funding is drying up.
Yeah, so for the Illinois River, we're still putting tags out in the water. we have funding for Wabash, and whatever appears, it's still not here yet. And I would be reticent to putting more tags on water. So we use what funding they gave us for this coming fiscal year to probably move the hydroacoustics down to the into the Ohio River. We've been told to do it, and probably not tag any fish. So yeah, so that's over. I'm not putting more tags out.
Okay.
And then after this year, it's over. I mean, so we get this last plug of money, and then sayonara. We get one more plug of money for Illinois River, starting in October through the following fiscal year. That money will be supporting most of us for a while. But the mandate has changed. They haven't told us what they want us to do with it. So I'm getting a plug of money without any guidance. They don't want hydroacoustics, so I would assume we're probably just gonna tag some more fish in Illinois and then be done with it. So it's really odd. I don't know what else to say. But
So, anything else we're planning to do in the summer?
well, we've never really done a lot of summer work other than download receivers because it's too hot. The fish, we can't tag fish.
Yeah.
So all our work has always been in the fall and the spring. in terms of
Okay.
Tagging and sampling.
Yeah.
Yishrin's planning on going out because she still needs to get data. If you want to go out, you can go out. You just need to know what data you want to collect.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean that's the reality right now. I mean I'm looking for other funding sources, but the state has been supporting the crappie stuff. I don't know how long that'll last. Yeah, that's where we're at.
Ah,
Yeah, it's frustrating, isn't it?
it's so frustrating.
Yeah, well, that's the name of the game, man. So I don't know. I got to spend more time in Springfield, I guess. But we're not the only lab. I mean, there's other labs around the state that are also getting pulled back on. So
Yeah.
it's not just us. Yeah. But like I said, I'll worry about it, and I'll see if I can find us other funding. You'll be fine. You've got plenty of data to work on retrospectively. We've got years and years of data, so that's good. And then in terms of data collection, that's why I'm saying this year, you really, if you've got field stuff you want to do, it's going to help augment the retrospective analyses that you're planning to do. Or, if you want to do some experimental stuff, we can certainly do them around here. The ponds, I know you were worried about the ponds with the algae, but anything that involves simple stuff, I mean, there is some possibility we could do some stuff out there. So that's something you have to think about, and I honestly don't know what that would be at this stage, but yeah, like we've done tag retention studies out there; those have worked. It just all really depends on sort of what you want to do. What it sounds like you're doing here with Joe is more retrospective analyses and sort of that sort of thing. So I don't think you have much to worry about in terms of data collection. But
Yeah. I think the density dependent movement is cool. Like, even though Yishun has already started on the idea, like,
I don't think she's working on density dependent movement.
no?
Not that I know of. I mean, I haven't seen her. She told me she'd give me her proposal 2 weeks ago. I still don't have it. So I kind of know what she's doing for a project, but she's never articulated to me the full gamut of the project. But I don't remember density dependent movement being a chapter. So that's something that we need to do. The density dependent movement would be taking the telemetry and the hydroacoustics data over time and looking to see whether there are any trends. One of those would be just looking at density in the lower river versus the upper river, and then looking at the probability or the movement through Starbuck Arca Dam, for example. Looking to see whether there's a density impact or whether it's just environmental. because we know that when the water's up, the fish will move. But is there like an effect of the densities that we've collected by hydroacoustics on movement at that level? And then there also, because we have hydroacoustics that are certain different pools, we can actually start comparing movement between the different pools. So and that's what I've been talking with Joe about, having somebody doing that might be something we could work on. So
Okay.
but, yeah, I don't think East Wind was planning on doing that. She's more interested in the bioenergetics and the sex-specific movement, and also a sex-specific condition and spawning patterns in the river. So yeah.
Okay. I'll talk to Joe.
No, I
Then-
think the three of us should sit down, so we're just sort of
Like
what
on-
we want to do is sit in there and sort of write down sort of what the projects are going to be. And
Okay.
then flesh them out. So anytime. I mean, this week is getting a lot better, and the next week gets better because the shit's over now this weekend. So yeah, just set up time for a couple hours and go over this. But you, again, this is your project. We're not trying to tell you what to do. So what you need to do is go up there and basically say, I'm going to do this, 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 and this, and then Joe and I can say, yeah, this is cool. Let's go this direction. You know what I mean? So we start fleshing out those ideas, 3 or 4 chapter type ideas that fit into a bigger picture. So, and what you talked about is really cool. It's just figuring out what's doable, that sort of thing.
Okay.
Yeah. In the meantime, read some papers. But yeah, I mean, my Fridays are usually pretty open. So yeah, it's just a matter of when you feel you're ready to do that.
Okay. Alright. I don't think I have anything else other than that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. Well, like I said, do you have any idea, like a time frame when you want to have this meeting with me and Joe? And do it this week or next week or?
Let me think. Do I have anything going on this week? I know I have a lab meeting at 10
Okay.
for my TA stuff, and then I have colloquium class from 1 to 2.
Okay.
But any other time, like on Friday,
Pretty open.
yeah, pretty open. Yeah.
Well, maybe we plan to meet, not this Friday, but the following Friday, and just try to hash some of the stuff out. That'd be cool.
Okay. So do you want me to just have a list of all of the ideas and just sort of think, let's do this, this, and this. Okay.
Yeah, I mean that's where you start, and then you start developing those ideas based on what we have, what data we have, and then if you need other data, you can get it from us, or there's the literature, there's data out there, and then if you don't know it, there's a possibility we can simulate some of it modeling wise. I mean, it's something that something that Peng does pretty regularly. So, I mean, there's some cool stuff, and then you just need to be thinking from an ecological and also from a management perspective, sort of what approaches are out there, how would you want to approach the data, all that kind of stuff. So,
Okay.
so like look at some of the most recent papers and just say, hey man, this person's doing something really cool. Can I apply that to the data that we already have?
Okay.
So, and then if it's stuff that you're going to need, I don't know. Let's say, for example, you need good age length data or something like that. I mean, we might be able to collect that in the field this year. I don't know. It depends on what you think you're going to need for your study. So,
Okay.
and we'll go from there.
Sounds good.
Cool. All right.